Hiya. I'm going to share some really simple tips today. I think I'm going to go for a liner flick and a bright red lip. But Nicole, you'd asked me for some tips to stop your skin from going red and oily through the day. I mean, you're definitely asking the right person here. So I'm just going to talk you through some of the things that make a big difference for me. Now, I've already prepped my skin with skincare when I woke up. The first thing I'm going in with is the It Cosmetics CC cream. I do talk about the CC cream an awful lot, but for me, that's my favourite product for feeling completely confident that my redness is not going to show through. I always think, in particular, when it comes to a complexion product, a lot of the time people will ask me, what's your favourite or what's the best? But actually, we all have a different set of deliverables of what we want. So for example, my dream scenario is full coverage that looks fresh and dewy, because I want to cover up my redness, but I don't want to look like I've got loads of makeup on. So this is a no-brainer, going to be my favourite. Whereas if you wanted something more mattifying that was really lightweight, this wouldn't be for you at all. So I think it's really important to kind of have a think about what you want the finish to be like. I feel like this sounds like it's all for you, Nicole, and that I'm going on this big rant. This is like you, the wider you. Have a little think about what kind of finish you want from your foundation. And then from there, use those keywords, whether it's velvety, matte, luminous, to lead which one you buy, as opposed to me telling you my favourite. Does that make sense? Because my idea of my favourite could be your idea of hell and vice versa. But for me, for anyone that does want the full coverage that doesn't look like full coverage, that's your winner. I take that all over. What I've noticed this week, to be honest, is I've got a little bit more texture than usual, so I might press a little bit more over the areas of texture, but that feels like enough for me. And then crucially, I think if you want your makeup to last all day, whatever your skin type, I would always powder. Now, what I'm going to do specifically is, first of all, powder the centre of the face to lock this in place, and also to take down any excess shine. I mean, if I just show you under the ring light, you can really see just the difference of pressing some powder in. But what I'd usually do, I could do a little bit more coverage actually. Do you know what? Yeah, while we're having a chat, and that might happen as well, you might look at it and think, I need to build a bit more. Brilliant. I'd always rather do that than start off with absolutely loads and then think, oh my gosh, how am I going to buff this out? I've put too much on. But see, for me, most of that looked fine. But I know, especially because I've got the ring light on, because it's an early morning and I've got a QVC today, that will melt and look patchy and all the rest of it. So another thing I'd say is, we all know our own skin. If you know it's tending to come off a bit more on your chin or on your nose, preempt it and put a bit more there before it has a chance to do that. Now, gonna powder that again, because obviously I've built a bit more coverage. Now, on a normal day, or without the severity of that light, I would just powder the centre and leave the rest fresh. But for today, because I want to go in with some bronzer and things on top, I'm going to actually seal that in all over. And I'm going to seal the eyes as well. Now, one of the things that I think is a big misconception that so many brands say is this idea of like makeup that lasts all day. And I think that ultimately, everyone, we all need to kind of think about what our version of perfect is, because for me, if my makeup's going to last really well, but it will look a bit more fresh and dewy as the day goes on, that's okay. Like, I don't mind too much. Whereas if you want a completely flawless coverage all day long, you'll just have to top it up with a little bit of powder through the day, in particular down the centre of the face. But like, I feel like I wish they would say that. I wish they'd say, listen, this will last really well, But if you want it to look completely flawless, like no one's going to achieve that without a little bit of powder. And I actually think as well, it's the nicest way, because again, you could put absolutely loads of makeup on in the morning so that it will last you all day. But that might not be as flattering as putting a fair amount on and then just topping it where you need to. And another thing I would say in terms of topping up, so maybe you've powdered a little bit through the day, or you've gone a bit oily down the T-zone or something like that. One of the quickest ways to transform your makeup is via your nose. So if you think of the centre of my face, like this is a huge strip of it, isn't it? And your nose can be a really clear indicator as to how much makeup you've got on. I'm just going to put a bit of, I need to keep that brush clean. I lay out all my things the night before. So I've laid out my QVC things. I've laid out stuff to do my makeup with. I've just got the beauty book here that I used the other day. And now I'm looking, thinking, make sure you don't use one of your clean brushes for this. What was I saying? Oh, I had a really good point. The centre of your face, the nose. Listen to me about my own point. I had a really good point. If your centre of the face and your nose looks really flawless and polished, it'll give the illusion that the whole face is. And equally, if you feel like you've gone in with a bit too much everywhere and you're thinking, oh gosh, you know, I wish I could take this down. If you just soften the centre of your nose, it'll make it look like everything else is much fresher. Let me just get a bit of bronzing powder on there. I'm going to put some blusher on there too. And just see how it softens everything up and how I've eaten my own hair. Okay, so top tips, keeping it in place, defo top it up. And I don't say that to be like annoying, but I'd rather you know that it will need topping up than be looking at your face at midday thinking what's happened here then, when majority of people would be topping it up. I certainly would. The next thing I wanted to check, let me double check, it was Sophie. Sophie asked me the other day, can you do a little video about liquid liner versus gel liner? And I thought this is a really good one. So I use a bit of both. I love liquids, I love gels. I'm going today for a really simple crisp liner because I've got these QVC shows, I'll be taking my makeup on and off a few times, and I find that if I go for a really crisp eye, it's really easy to tidy up. And I would say that to you if you're noticing that your makeup feels a bit tired or it never feels as polished through the day. If you do a couple of simple steps like a liner and a red lip, they're really easy to just neaten and feel really polished. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is go in with my liner and look down into the mirror, but I'm not going to go right into the very corner. And I'll tell you why in a moment, but I have to stop talking to put my liner on. Okay, so that's with my liquid liner. I purposefully didn't edit that. I kept it, well, I sped it up, but I wanted you to see how you can kind of essentially do one, hope for the best, and then just keep pulling back to check that they feel nice and even. Now, that is one coat. That's the It Cosmetics Superhero Liner. And it is really nice and black, but one of the best tips I've ever learned, years ago, I went to Mario did a masterclass with L'Oreal, and he was sharing, obviously he was using all of the L'Oreal things, but what I always thought was brilliant, and it really stuck with me, was that yes, he used everything from L'Oreal, but he shared tips that you could apply to whatever you have. And so when I got home, I thought, well, I can do that with all of my things. And he said that one of the key things with liner is to layer it, to build the intensity, because that looks black. We can see that that's black. But if I top that up now with another layer, it's going to look really jet black, and it's going to last really well and not flake. Now, I do love a liquid for getting in there, and I love actually, especially when your liquid has a long nib, if you lie that flat and pull it along, it kind of does a lot of the work for you. However, where gels are really handy, and I do love a gel, is that, say for the very inner corners of my eyes, I mean, I did take that quite far in, to be fair, but if I go right the way in there with my liquid liner, I've got little fine lines that it will seep into, and then I have to tidy it up, and who can be bothered? So gels are really handy, not only just as a liner in itself, and again, I'm creating that kind of shape with my brush, but also to get in anywhere where there's any fine lines, because it sits rather than runs, because you're literally placing this kind of clay-like texture into that place. And also, I'm going to use this now to just build over that black, probably thicken that ever so slightly. Little bit of drop down there, no problem. See how much darker that one looks? So whichever liner you're using, whether it's a pencil, liquid, gel, whatever, definitely do 2 coats. 2 coats. 2 coats. Honestly, do you know what I often do? I'm doing it this morning. I was up really early this morning and I'm making my video before I start my day of work, because I won't have time by the time the day kicks off. And honestly, sometimes I don't know what comes out of my mouth. I never watch these back for that very reason, because I just can't bear it. Okay, tickling that in to that inner corner. So we've gone right in there, no spills. I'm flattening the brush and the product on the back of my hand. And then getting right into these lashes. I need to keep an eye on the time. Just to be safe for the time, because I want to show you this lipstick, I'm going to really quickly speed through my lashes as well. With no mascara on, I think I said this to you before, it really helps me when I'm taking my makeup on and off to keep that clean and make the transition really quickly. And also, if you find yourself looking a bit tired, it's much easier to top up that under eye area if there's nothing else there. What I did there, I'd done my mascara, and then if any of it has printed on those bottom lashes, just give them a pinch. I saw that on a Katie Jane Hughes video, and I thought, brilliant. That's another one that you need that to be really clean, or else it's a bit like, you've got a bit of mascara there, have you made a mistake? We don't want anyone thinking that. Okay, I'm going in with a red liner from MAC. This is Cherry. I've already got some lip balm on. There we go. And then the latest addition to the Peaches Pigment family, Lobster. This is, it's like a salmon red, and it looks really orange on the camera, but when it hits the light, it's a very pinky red. It's beautiful. So I'm actually going to press this flat. I've already got some, it's the Je ne sais quoi lip balm I've got on. This little one. And I'm going to press this straight onto the lips. Now, that was the exact brush I could have used to tidy that up. But never mind. What I would say, if you ever make a mistake, especially with red, one of the best things to do is go over it. So I've obviously buffed it out there. I'm going to take the tiniest bit of CC cream and just go over the top. And there we go. Something a bit different. Okay, well, I hope that was helpful. Let me know the kind of thing you want to see, and I've been quite busy this week, so I've still got a good few to catch up on, but if you've asked me for something recently, it is written down and I'm going to tick it off. But I hope you enjoyed, and have a lovely weekend, and I'll be talking to you soon.